Now, you talk with a lot of people online about the war. What arguments have you found convincing when talking to people in America, Europe, Japan, Australia, wherever, who are sympathetic perhaps to Ukraine, but are like, you know what, it's not our problem, it's really far away, who cares? What arguments have you found those people are convinced by?
To be honest, those people tend to be not convinced at all. So at this point in time, I must admit that most people who support us already support us. They don't need any convincing. But people who by this point don't care, they probably won't really care. So it's not like you can really. At the beginning, there was a lot of like effort and sort of like a I don't know, could say a battle in a way, right, for people's minds and trying to win them over and everything. And I think the most effective things were for people to just see how bad it is actually, like because most media news don't really show you they will show you like a fireman picking out a cat from a building, cute stuff like that, right? But they won't show you like people's relative exploding or like something like that. So showing stuff like that, as brutal as it is, did change a lot of people's minds. Also, just making it clear for them that it's something we want, because Americans have this like problem with American exceptionalism, unfortunately, and they really feel everything is about America and it's about America. And for us showing them that it wasn't, that it really was something that is, it's not Biden making us fight. We don't care about much about what he thinks, but it's about our just desire to survive, to maintain ourselves as a nation, to preserve everything we worked so hard of, because I can't imagine anything worse than losing all of that again. I don't think I could live with that, to be honest. And yeah, so in that sense, that worked. Also, some people who are more like I guess internationally minded or something like that, you could make effort to explain to them why it matters for United States, right? So why preserving the peace in Europe is important, why Russia will attack again. For example, many people I spoke with didn't know that Russia attacked Moldova and Georgia and annexed territory there, right? So they thought it's just Ukraine, right? Who cares, right? And it's not just Ukraine. Their aspirations are much bigger. There are also countries like Moldova now, Georgia. There are Armenia, Kazakhstan, right? Countries that are not in NATO, right? But that are also at danger and things like that. And why just in general allowing dictators, allowing war-hungry imperialists to just do whatever the fuck they want in Europe or anywhere else, to be honest, it doesn't really. It's not the world order that we are supposed to have in 21st century, and it's not the world order that any sane person should want. So that was something that people brought up as arguments quite a bit, and yeah, appealing to people that they owe us shit doesn't really help. It seems like appealing to like Budapest Memorandum and things like that, that actually there is sort of like a commitment that was made. Doesn't seem to be, people are not bothered by that, it seems. Yeah, mostly just on emotional level. So you show them that just what is at stake, I guess, or you convince them that it's something that is important worldwide, not just with Ukraine. So I guess that's probably the best bets.
Okay, now for your closing message to various different constituencies. You can be as short or as long as you'd like in your message, but what is your message to American, European, and allied peoples and law and policymakers?
Mm, damn, dude. I have so much to say, nothing good. But if we're trying to be as positive as humanly possible in this situation, is I no, I guess I will say just just how it is, without forced positivity. To be honest, for time of the forced positivity has passed, it seems. Um, I um, I did in 22 had a big hope in the world and in the I believed, I guess you could say, in the idea that people in the world will have a back, and that this time will be the one where Russia will be stopped from doing what it does to millions of people, without any shame, without any punishment, without any accountability. And I really thought that this is it. This is it. So previous generations failed, but we will manage, simply because it's a different time. So many phones, so many films, so many, everything is out there, everything is on the screen. People can see what is happening. And I am sad to say that my faith and my trust in the world has been completely crushed. And yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, my feeling overall. But I also want to say just a huge thank you to people who still fight for us today and still try to bring justice and try to help us preserve ourselves and assist us, because it meant a lot back then, and it means just as much, if not more now, that people are still doing this and people still care. People who donate, people in politicians who still are decent enough human beings to fight for what is both just and sensible. Because no way to people talk a lot about avoiding World War III, right? But at the same time, there's no better way to avoid it than stop Russia before it goes anywhere else. So I know there are many people who understand that and who are fight for us still to this day, despite how fucking bleak everything is. And I appreciate that. And I think the history will remember you um, favorably, and people who thrown us to the wolves very unfavorably, especially when shit hits the fan, if we fall, and it will hit the fan very hard. So in that sense, yeah. So gratefulness and thankfulness towards everyone who stood out, who stood up for us, and who stood up for peace and righteousness and things like that in the world, and also cared enough, I guess, to even bother caring about people on the other side of the, I don't know, ocean or something of the sense, right? It means a lot. But at the same time, people who have sabotaged our war effort, people who actively supported Russia in what they did, and people who, especially in not regular people, but in political world, who sacrificed basically us for money, political gain, anything, party interest, things like that. I think you did a very, very big mistake. And not because I'm just Ukrainian and I care about my people dying, obviously, but I think you failed, not you just Ukraine, you failed the world in general. So yeah, that's pretty much, I think, the gem.
Okay. What's your message to the United Nations?
You didn't really want to sabotage me, yeah? I have such a horrible story. I might actually tell you in the person, like in DMs or something like that, about my interaction with the UN person as well. That I never saw a person who cared less about their job than that guy. So that's really quite impressive. But overall, my point, if I'm like being as charitable as possible to those people, which is difficult, okay, but if I am, then you're not doing anything of worth right now, and it needs to change. Either the organization doesn't need to exist, or if it exists, it needs to review and rework the mechanisms you have to influence people. You can't give away warrants of to Putin and people like that, and then he visits countries who are supposed to be upholding that warrant, and they don't give a fuck. They just let him enter, and he has been declared criminal that needs to be arrested on site for the mass deportation of Ukrainian children, and nothing happened. So nobody holds you in high regard. Nobody upholds your warrants and your laws. And at the end of the day, they matter not at all. And the only people it matters to are already people who are not breaking the laws of conduct of international and war and all that. So if this organization is to be in the future and is to be less of a disappointment to anyone with sense, then it needs to change, or at the very least find some new mechanisms in which it helps people and things like that. And your mission supposed to be world peace, things like that. Your mission is supposed to be preserving, making sure that human rights aren't violated and all that thing. And I don't think you have done that for Ukraine at all. So maybe someone else has a better opinion of you, but yeah, not us. And I don't think it's our fault, if I'm honest. I think it's yours. So yeah, in that sense, I I used to again be very much in favor of those organizations. I used to be like very, oh yeah, that's like serious thing. They need to, there's credible people. Everything they say matters, and but life taught me differently. So yeah, so I don't know. I don't see much of a sense in them right now, but maybe things will change. We shall see.
All right. What's your message to Vladimir Putin?
Yeah. Are you serious right now? Do you want to get yourself banned or something?
Say
It's a
whatever you want.
message that will.
Just don't violate
No, no.
TOS.
Yeah, I don't want to
he should
really put you on the spot.
he should do something to
I
himself in Minecraft.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
But unfortunate though, I don't think that's him problem. It's like just him dying won't fix Russia. So yeah, and I wish it was just this guy goes out of the picture and everything is henky dory, right? But unfortunately, it's he is a child of his country. He's a representation of a very rotten ideology of Russian supremacy, of Russian world, and of Russian imperialism. And as much as I hate him, obviously, I really don't think he's the only problem that there is there. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind Minecrafting, obviously, for obvious reason.
What's your message to the Russian people?
You do want to get me in trouble, even bigger trouble with every question. So, as far as Russian people are concerned, I never cared much, to be honest. So Russians weren't really on my mind. I haven't thought of them as much as I think of us. But now I can say just simply that no matter how it ends, no matter what happens, there will never ever be any forgiveness or any sort of um, I don't know, like reclamation of any sort of normal relationship or any sort of no, not in my lifetime, however short or long it may be. I don't know, but I don't think Russian people deserve forgiveness, and funnily enough, they don't ask for it in most cases. So they don't feel that they did anything wrong ever historically to us and to other people in the region. And there I don't think I wish sincerely that something huge happens and it changes. I obviously don't want to have that sort of neighbor for the rest of our days, right? And I wish it was different for them. I don't know how to achieve that, to be honest. But I really don't think that Russians, as they are today, deserve any sort of grace and any sort of honestly any sort of anything, but especially not forgetting or forgiving what they did and what they continue to do every day. And I want there to be accountability. I don't hold every single Russian as responsible as I hold Putin and people in power. Obviously, that would be silly. But there's some sort of accountability that many good, decent people in Russia actually accept, and that accountability is needs to be had. Russia needs to somehow find somehow find it in themselves to finally acknowledge what they become, what they are, what they have been, and only then there can be any sort of change there. And I don't want that change, honestly, for the sake of them as much as I want it for the sake of everyone around them, because they continue to be a threat, continue to be continue to create so much grief, so much death and suffering, destruction, and all evil shit that you can only imagine happening to millions of people. And that I want that to end, no matter what. And yeah, when it comes to decent Russian people, good ones, people who actually are incredibly, dejected and don't know what the hell to do with this whole situation, I sympathize with you all, and I don't know what to say. Honestly, I don't know how to make lives any better for you, and how to I don't know. There's no consolation here, to be honest, and I don't know what I would do in your shoes in particular, to be honest. And yeah, but I do hope something will I did hope that us winning in some shape or form would have been that big change that would change the ideology of Russian world, the Russism and all of that to change. Because as much as I hate them and as much as I despise everything the country stands for, it's not only us who are suffering from that ideology; it's them as well. Sometimes they don't even know it, that they are suffering from it. And yeah, so I do wish, obviously, for that to change, but I don't know how, and it's not my job as well. It's yours.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it, pretty
Okay.
much.
And what's your message to, this is a two-part one, Xi Jinping and the Chinese people?
Oh my God, that's recently there have been actually finally an admittance in European Union on official level that China sends lethal weapons to Russia to assist in their war effort. Ukraine has been given those reports for months, obviously, and only now in nearly 25 years we know that Europe officially recognizes that China is assisting Russia in the war effort. So I think that China is about as bad as Russia. They just haven't been out and about yet as much. So they're not off the chain, so to speak, as Russia is. So if any future um, will be a thing where World War III happens, and I do think China will be that main agent that will make it so. So I don't know what kind of message I can send to Chinese people and what the fuck they even think about all of that. I have no idea, honestly, what the percentage there is of them supporting. I do know in Russia, right? But I really don't know about China, to be honest, in the sense that what actual people there think, what they feel, how they feel about the country and everything that is going on. But it is a country that everyone now thinks is a danger, and for a reason. So yeah, I really don't want to live in the Chinese world, and I don't want to live in the Russian world. So yeah, my message is fuck knows, honestly, what all you're thinking over there. But can you please stop creating wars and disasters? Thank you very much.
All right. So Anna, sorry. What do you think of the
No
interview
problem.
project? And is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's always things to talk about, but we have been for a while, so I
Yes.
think it's about time we know you cut it. But yeah, but overall, I think it's a cool idea. I'm especially just genuinely thankful that people even want to talk about Ukraine. To be honest with you, there's so comparatively how much, how to say this, how much invites, yeah, invites is the word, how much invites I used to have, like to speak with people would like interested in Ukrainian perspective. Now I get close to zero, which is fine. I'm very busy with my translation work for journalists, volunteer effort and things like that. But it shows, I guess you could say, the lack of interest in Ukrainian topic in general. And since Trump was elected, now many people, even our supporters, are basically burying us alive and talking about how we are done cooked and how it's the end of Ukraine. So all of that is pretty difficult to deal with. So I highly appreciate you and pretty much anyone who is still sort of like trying to bring attention to it, but also is not doing the, oh, they're doomed, fuck them, sort of attitude that had been an unpleasant surprise for me from even our supporters as well. So yeah, I thank you very much. I really appreciate that and your project, but also just in general, just talking with me, just giving me like space to speak as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. And where can people find you and your work?
So I am still on Twitter. I'm I'm not escaping as many people are currently. It's Ukrainian Anna. Maybe you can post it somewhere, but it's basically
In the
my name
description.
here.
And I'll link
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Blue
yeah.
Sky
Thank
too.
you. Yeah, oh, I just got Blue Sky like a day ago, I think, or something, because people have been saying that I should like abandon the Twitter ship, but I'm not. I don't have the luxury to do it as a Ukrainian. This is like my biggest platform, and I need to be there to post news and fundraisers and things like that. But yeah, but people really hope that the Blue Sky thing grows and they can say fuck you to Elon, I suppose. And so I decided to assist in that and also make a Blue Sky account there. So yeah, that's where you can find me in general, but also like my volunteer project and fundraisers and things of that sort. Um, yeah,
All right. Well, thank you so much. Be sure to check her out. Links in the description. And have an amazing day or night, I guess, where you're at.
Thank you. Yeah, no idea. Thank you very much again, and yeah, bye bye. Have a
Bye.
nice day, night, whatever it is.
Perfect.
Can I have a few more moments of your time? Thank you again for watching another book interview clip. The full interview is linked in the description. Right now, I need your help. I'm currently running a Kickstarter campaign for my next recently finished book, Champions of Elanthia. Champions of Elanthia is my in-depth exploration of the world of multi-user dungeons, featuring interviews with a dozen Dragon Realms and Gemstone 4 players, telling their stories and preserving gaming history. You can help me bring this project to life for as little as $5, so please back the Kickstarter today and help me fulfill this dream. I'm also happy to report that The People of GamerGate, Volumes 1 and Volumes 2, are now available on Amazon in both Kindle and hardcover formats. Thank you again for your time.